So, welcome everyone who is here from all over the world, different places, different people, one essence. It is November 15th, 2023, 4:30 p.m. here in California, and that is our preordained starting time. Today we are gathering together as meditators or people on the spiritual path, and we are especially together in our Discord Sangha space through the app called Discord, and I highly recommend anyone who would like to participate in these events to join our Discord, and it's the best way to stay in touch with our community and what we're doing online. Some of us may be experienced in meditation or spirituality. I, for one, am a monk. We all have different backgrounds from which we approach this path and from which we approach reality. But what we can say is that reality itself is non differentiated. So if we point to reality, we are pointing to something of which is not defined by characteristics that exist within it. So that the emptiness in Buddhism, or the ultimate nothingness of Buddhism, is not a void, it's not a kind of nihilism, but it's more an inclusiveness, an availability, a all-embracing, right? Space has no matter to it, and yet it holds all matter. And from the Zen Buddhist perspective, this is something we can affiliate ourselves with, something that we can experience directly through the practice of meditation and through recognizing our true nature, or the true basis from which we experience things, people, places, situations, phenomena. Learning to recognize this fundamental source is the essence of our practice together today. This is what we're focusing on, and we're going to be using the text called Instant Zen, and this is a real classic in the Zen community, Western Zen community. Instant Zen, Waking Up in the Present, translated by Thomas Cleary, and from the 12th century Zen master Foyan. To approach Zen and to really begin approaching an authentic or genuine meditation practice, or a genuine attempt at the spiritual path, we need to become comfortable with not knowing. We need to become comfortable with not understanding. Trees explain themselves, but not through words and phrases. So to really know a tree, you need to be willing to not know a tree. To really get to know someone, you need to be willing to not know them. And even though these biases or moments of grasping, moments of fixation come up in the mind when we encounter other people or environments or trees, whatever it might be, we have this capacity to detach, or to step back from the importance that we give to this notion, this idea, this kind of defilement of thought that we are putting onto this person, place, situation, experience. And as we began to approach this in a large variety of ways, I mean, this is kind of what spirituality is all about, dropping our labels and our stories, our ideas, really dropping our reactivity or our attachment to our reactivity. We have to submit. We have to open our heart and our body and our breathing and our mind and whatever you can get a hold of. You have to open that up to stopping or setting it down. Whatever you can pick up, whatever you can get a hold of in this practice or on the spiritual path, right off the bat, this willingness to set it down is really essential. Otherwise, you're going to fail as you begin, because you won't be able to set down your grasping point. It's a long journey, and the more that we can set things down, the more that we can stop mental, verbal, physical activities, the more receptive we will be to direct recognition of reality, what's happening right now, which is not a story or can't be contained within a story. So before we get into this very rich and insightful reading of a 12th century Zen master, really the not the gold standard, but the jade standard, the emperor's jade standard. Before we get into that, let's listen to 3 sounds of the bell. I've got a good bell here today, and tune in to our mindfulness. If you don't have mindfulness, if you don't have a relationship with mindfulness, you're not going to make any progress in developing wisdom or having a special understanding or a spiritual understanding. You've got to um, appreciate mindfulness. You've got to appreciate the listening, the awareness, the sound and the sound itself. And as we listen to the sound of the bell, we can drop all of our questions about Zen. What's going to happen? Where are we going from here? Where am I? And just listen to the sound of the bell. So let's try that together. And you can find a comfortable position for your body. Just adjust a little bit, mind and body together, stable and aware, as we listen to the sound of the bell. And having heard the sound of the bell, we can also naturally hear the sound of the silence, the ringing of no bell. Instant Zen, Waking Up in the Present by Zen Master Foyan. Independence. What do you people come to me for? Each individual should lead life autonomously. Do not listen to what other people say. An ancient one declared, "I knew how to lead life by the time I was 18. You people must learn to live independently." Okay, two interesting points here. Don't listen to what other people say. An ancient one declared, "I knew how to lead life by the time I was 18. So truly attaining that independence. Quick. You people must learn to live independently. So this means that we know how to take care of ourselves. We know how to be established in truth. We know how to, as Sadhguru would say, we know about the skill, our inner engineering, how to work with our mind, how to work with these inner dynamics of a human being to where we know how to lead a life of peace and well-being. We know how to deal with the problems that come up. You say, lead what life? Just do not seek elsewhere. Okay, so live what life? What am I supposed to solve? What am I supposed to manage and run? What am I supposed to be independent in? What life? Just do not seek elsewhere. Okay, Zen Master Foyan says, just do not seek elsewhere. So life, this life to be understood, this life to be lived independently in, is right here and right now. Stop looking outside of this moment. Just do not seek elsewhere. Most people today are compulsively active. This is already not knowing how to lead life. Most people today are compulsively active. This is already not knowing how to lead life. So maybe in there it's saying to know how to lead life is to know how to stop. To not be in this state of compulsive activity. Always seeking elsewhere, always another place, another time, another person, another story, another dream, another nightmare. Just do not seek elsewhere. And Zen Master Foyan was saying this about most people today are compulsively active in the 12th century, year 1200, 800 years ago, 900 years ago. So think about how our minds are now with the TikTok and the YouTube and the news cycle, constantly active, compulsively grasping, not skillful to stop, to detach. So not skillful to be independent, not skillful to not seek elsewhere. All right, so you people must learn to live independently. You say, lead what life? Just do not seek elsewhere. Most people today are compulsively active. This is already not knowing how to lead life. so that we don't need to get into the specifics, into the drama, into the story, into the self-fixated identity, my problems, your problems. What are you talking about, Bante? What are you talking about, Foyan? What life? You know, it's to seek being compulsively active. This is already not understanding. Stop. Hear the bell. Hear the bell of no bell. Invite the bell of silence. This is already not knowing how to lead life in this compulsive activeness. This is called abandoning home, scattering the family, and becoming a drifter. So this state of being compulsively active is called abandoning home, scattering the family, and becoming a drifter, drifting in this compulsive activity. Clearly, this is not understanding. Just searching and seeking, studying a bit of intellectual knowledge, memorizing a few sayings, is called hauling manure inside. So even when it comes to our spiritual path, now we start to take some sayings from this teacher and that teacher and Zen Master Foyan. We study a bit, we search around, we seek around, we memorize some things. This is called hauling manure inside. When you get here, your actions have to be truly accurate. Eventually, it will sink in thoroughly, and then you will understand. Okay, so I think when you get here is meaning when you get to this place of stopping that compulsive activity, right? As Zen Master Foyan said earlier, just do not seek elsewhere, no longer seeking elsewhere. When you get here, your actions have to be truly accurate. And to be accurate, I would say careful, right? Deeply careful, deeply present, sharp. Eventually, this here-ness or this suchness will sink in thoroughly, and then you will understand. An ancient said, everywhere is you. Go east, and it's you. Go west, and it's you. Who are you? If you say me, this is emotional and intellectual consciousness, which you must pass through before you attain realization. You must pass through it. So not getting trapped, not getting stuck in the intellectualization of ourselves, not getting stuck in the emotional kind of resonance or the emotionality of ourselves. We have to pass through that to gain realization, to attain realization. In ancient times, Vasubandhu asked a Sangha, probably two traditional monks, elder brother, when you went to the inner palace, what teaching did Maitreya expound to you? So what teaching did the future Buddha expound to you when you went to the sacred palace? A Sangha replied, he expounded this teaching. Now tell me, what teaching is this? You must be able to discern it before you can realize it. What teaching is this? You must be able to discern it before you can realize it. Don't fix recognition on this. Many people have been fooled by the term this. That is why they speak of illness as if it were medicine. Therefore, we say they are pitiful. So in a sense, when we read through these texts, the stories or the encouragements or the puzzles of the ancient Zen masters, we're being brought into the inner palace, or we're being brought into the sanctum or the mind of enlightenment, and we aren't enlightened. We aren't fully realized. So there are many things that we won't, that I can't grasp, I can't quite discern or understand. But there are many aspects, many pointers that we can. And as we listen to teachers like this, where the deeper understanding is not locked into belief or faith, not religious faith, but in experiencing, in discernment, in recognition, in realization, we can start to get close to being eyebrow to eyebrow with them. And we can set a standard for how we kind of work on this path moving forward. Stephen, do you want to say something? Okay. Maybe we can ask the group. I don't know. I don't expect anyone has an answer, but let's see. So in ancient times, Vasubandhu asked a Sangha, elder brother, when you went to the inner palace, what teaching did Maitreya expound to you? A Sangha replied, he expounded this teaching. Now tell me, what teaching is this? What teaching is this kind of essence point or this foundation of our lives that's right here, right now? Everything, right here. What teaching is this? And that great question, what is this? But not being fooled by this, not being fooled by whatever appearances you can get a hold of. This could be anything, but also we should understand this is very precise. This is very careful. This is very accurate. It's not a matter of just kind of throwing words around and hoping that something sticks. This is a matter of liberation and freedom from randomness or contrivance. Only this. Could be anything. But what is this? Only don't know. Yeah? What'd you say, Morgan?
I liken it to the absence of the sound of the bell. When you struck the bell and then it was absent, that's kind of what that reminds me of. The present moment awareness.
Let's listen to Sound of the Bell. Okay, so let's go to the next reading here. In Tune. And we're reading from Instant Zen Waking Up in the Present by Zen Master Foyan, translated by Thomas Cleary. In Tune. Don't say what is speaking right now is it. That's not quite right. So, what is it? What is this? What is enlightenment? What is your original face before your parents were born? Or what is your true nature? Zen Master Foyan is speaking on here. So, in tune. Don't say what is speaking right now is it. That is not quite right. As soon as there is an affirmation, then there is a denial. That is the reason why it is said that no verbal expressions correspond to this reality. All right, it's the duality of yes and no, right? Which side of uh, the bell bone are you going to choose? Well, they go together, right? Both sides are one, not even one. What you must do is live in harmony with it. This matter is not in another. But are you in tune with it? And if you are in tune with whom? If you say you are in tune with the ancients are gone. If you say you are in tune with a teacher has no connection with you. This is why the sages compassionately told us to tune into the source of our own minds. Now tell me, what is the source of mind to which one tunes in on one's own? If you mindfully try to tune into mind, you will definitely be unable to tune in. You have to tune in with mindless mind. You have to tune in with mindless mind. Right? It's kind of like the samurais, Japanese samurais, where, and they still practice this today. They take their samurai sword and then they try to cut through the bamboo, these folded bamboo mats, right? And some of them can cut through many, and beginners they can't even cut through one. So it's that sharpness, that totality, that completeness of the moment, of the action. Any extra layer of contrivedness won't cut it. It's like you're taking on the position of being heat or taking on the position of being the cold. There's nothing contrived in heat. There's nothing contrived in coldness. There's nothing contrived in water. And so if we try to, mindfully or intentionally tune in to the source of our mind, don't expect to have the great result or to really get it. We have to tune in mindlessly. We have to tune in to reality without contrivance, without secondary thought, without, scheming. Just showing up, just being there. Now, I think we do need to put forth some effort to become more skillful in getting in tune. Right? We have to learn what it's like to be out of tune. We have to get involved and then recognize, oh, I'm out of tune, or I'm contriving, I'm conniving, I'm planning, I'm doing this because I want some particular result instead of just being in harmony, just tuning in. What kind of tune is it when no verbal expressions correspond to this reality? Imagine if you're at the fast food place. You know, you're in the drive-through, you put in your order, and then they say, no, no verbal expressions correspond to this reality. Now, everything is saying that to us all the time, right? The table, the bell, this happy Buddha right here, happy monk playing their little drum. They're saying it. So developing a non-reliance on verbal expressions, but not to deny them or reject them, but that verbal expressions are not really the source of mind. Let's listen to this one more time about it being in tune. So don't say what is speaking, and this, here's some of the duality here is, instant Zen, right? You are already the Buddha. You just don't recognize it. The mind is a clear blue sky. The clouds are there, but they're just there in terms of coming and going. But the essence of the mind, the source of the mind is a clear blue sky. You're the Buddha, you just don't get it. You don't recognize it. You don't see it. So if that's the case, maybe some people would like to say, well, this is it. Right? The person sitting here speaking, or the person sitting here seeing or smelling or breathing or listening is the Buddha. Don't say what is speaking right now is it. That is not quite right. As soon as there is an affirmation, so as soon as you confirm this or affirm this, that you're the Buddha, then there is a denial. So why is that? Why is it when we say, I am the Buddha, there's a denial of being Buddha in that? Why do the... Go ahead, yeah. Krino.
Than saying the words out loud and using words to convey the idea, that's not the same realm at which being the Buddha is experienced. That's just how it inspires me to think. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think too on like a intellectual level that the word "I" becomes problematic when you talk about Buddhahood.
So as soon as there is an affirmation, then there is a denial. Well, as soon as we ring the sound of the bell, there's the ending, right? So the moment that you say, I am the Buddha, within that is the ending of the statement, the cessation, the impermanence of that statement. So if you say, what is speaking right now is it, you're almost saying that it is temporary, or that it has something to do with speaking, or has something to do with I. Maybe. but we can understand the two sides of one stick. Yes and no. Support it. So what is a claim to be enlightened or the Buddha without any Buddha or enlightenment, or non-Buddha or non-enlightenment? Sonia?
Thinking maybe because when we are in duality, it's the material world, so it's not enlightenment, and because it's duality, so one or
Well, whatever you would be identifying with, that is that I, right, would be impermanent, unsatisfactory, unreliable. Don't say what is speaking right now is it. That's not quite right. As soon as there is an affirmation, then there is a denial. That is the reason why it is said that no verbal expressions correspond to this reality. Right? So what is that those statements really do carry the dualism inside of them, even though it doesn't, maybe we don't look at it that way so much, but I want that is creating a I separate from the environment. The desire, the wanting for it is including in it the things that you don't want, right? This is a tree, separates a tree from everything. That is the reason why it is said that no verbal expressions correspond to this reality. So rather than saying what is speaking right now is it, or that's it, or you're it, or whatever, what you must do is live in harmony with it. This matter is not in another, but are you in tune with it? So this great matter is in you. It's not outside of you. And it's certainly not at some other place or some other situation or some other time. In the same way, the death won't be a matter outside of the present or you, right? It's going to hit you right in the heart. So what you must do is live in harmony with it. This matter is not in another, so it's in you, or it's in the now, but are you in tune with it? And if you are in tune with whom? If you say you are in tune with the ancients are gone. If you say you are in tune with a teacher has no connection with you. I think the point there is a matter of recognizing this independence of it may sound harsh, it may sound like you're excluding, but it also gives all the power to you, the opportunity, the potential for you to heal, right? Like there's not a doctor outside of you. There's not a teacher outside of you that you can connect with or that you can be healed by, but it's you that can do it. And of course, one Zen master had said we can't even share a fart as human beings, right? I mean, it's when you go to the toilet, you go to the toilet. When you have indigestion, you have indigestion. When you feel happy, you feel happy. We can practice sympathetic joy. Maybe we can, smell someone else's gas or even their corpse, but we can't experience it, right? We can't have that experience. We can't even share something like that, let alone, the essence of our mind or the mind source. It's in you. The healing is in you. The compassion is in you. This is why the sages compassionately told us, so what are we tuning into? Whom are we tuning into? The sages compassionately told us to tune into the source of our own minds. Now, this is a spiritual question. This is a question concerned with real spirituality. What is the source of mind? To which one tunes in on one's own? Or the source of mind to which you have a capacity to tune into on your own. If you mindfully try to tune into mind, you will definitely be unable to tune in. You have to tune in with a mindless mind. You have to tune in with a natural mind. It's like searching for a radio station without knowing any of the stations that are there. You've just got to tune. If you're trying to find a particular station, you don't know the particular station. So that's going to interfere with your tuning, your overall. You'll get frustrated. You'll grasp onto the wrong station or the station that's not the source. Morgan, did you want to say something? You have any idea about this tuning in mindlessly? Tune in with the mindless mind?
I think of just being, just dwelling, and not doing. I feel like that's where the answer could be found, but if there's an answer.
Oops. Okay, any questions or sharing from what we've read and looked at together so far? Can also be general questions. We can all make the best use of these events and this community through an engaged mindlessness, right? A real presence, a real brightness, a mindful mindlessness. So that everything you see, everything you hear, everything you smell, everything you feel in the body or aware of in the mind, you experience it directly without complicating it, without judging it, and without being stuck to it, and continue that action of mindless mindfulness. And always to practice that, the breath is a refuge, is a very strong access point to mindless mindfulness, mindless present moment awareness. And that the silence is really the teacher here, the guide here. Even the silence in the midst of noise is a kind of detachment, right? An awareness while thoughts are happening, but not being stuck or trapped by those thoughts, not being lost in them, and learning to recognize when we do get lost in those thoughts, when we do get lost in this ideology of complicated thinking, of this constant habit energy of activity, this compulsive activity, compulsive movement, compulsive involvement, compulsive identification, how to notice it and step back, arrive at the mindless mindfulness, just the experiencing, just the stopping, just the setting down, and not for, having nothing outside of this as the essential point, as the fundamental, as the heaviness of our human life, of our soul. It's just, it's right here. And there can be a kind of heaviness or an intensity to it, but there's also, if it's right here in front of us, that we can take care of it to our full capacities. We can hold it, we can embrace it, we can soften it, we can refresh it, we can release it. And because it's all right here, not, that means all, because we don't have a connection to our teacher, because we don't have, the ancestors are dead, or, Foyan's turned to dust. It means that everything is on our plate and we can do the work. We read at one point in our community a book by Sister Suko Ding Niem, really wonderful teacher in the Thich Nhat Hanh Plum Village tradition, and she specialized in trauma. And I recommend everyone to listen to her talks and her books. And she spoke about the topic of this idea of, time heals. You just got to wait. You just got to be patient, and the healing will take place. That soft spot or that tender spot will heal over. And she said, time does not heal. Breathing heals. Mindfulness heals. It's your attention. It's your caring. It's your presence. It's your resolving, right? Your capacity to resolve and to attend to. Your mindful breathing heals. And that everything is right here. The source of your mind, the source of your body, certainly. The source of the cosmos is right here. And if you don't believe that or you don't understand that, try, right? Stop all this compulsive activity. Stop being dragged just nonstop into the past, into the future, into this activity and that thing and that person and, that idea, and just let it all come home. Let it all be right there. And don't just give that right there-ness to your mind or your intellect or your contrivance, your convolutedness, but give it to your mindfulness. Give it to your direct experiencing. And if we prioritize this, if we make this not something that's a hobby, but something that we know, even though we forget, we know that is at the core of our life and meaning and purpose, everything, that we will come back to it more and more and more, and we'll start to get more clear glimpses of our true nature, our true self, our true life. And we can then we can take all these different activities. Maybe it's eating, ideally in a big old bathtub on the top of a mountain or something, But if you got a bathtub, you can use that, or a shower. Stepping outside, now the weather's changing, so stepping outside and feeling that cool air, and that all this is an entry point for healing and for intimacy with the divine. Intimacy with the fundamental, intimacy with instant Zen, waking up in the present. Okay? It's not complicated. And it is accessible. We just need to remind ourselves and continue, keep showing up, keep practicing. Okay, and we'll finish with this little reading from the back here, also from Zen Master Foyan. In everyday life, 24 hours a day, when there is unclarity in the immediate situation, it is generally because the opinionated mind is grasping and rejecting, grabbing a hold, pushing away. How can you get to know the non-discriminatory mind then? So non-discriminatory, not picking and choosing, not discriminating, not saying this is better, this is worse, this is what I should do, this is what I shouldn't do. Okay? From the top. In everyday life, 24 hours a day, when there is unclarity in the immediate situation, it is generally because the opinionated mind is grasping and rejecting. How can you get to know the non-discriminatory mind then? You must find the non-discriminatory mind without departing from the discriminatory mind. Find that which has no seeing and hearing without departing from seeing and hearing. This does not mean that no seeing is a matter of sitting on a bench with your eyes closed. You must have non-seeing right in seeing. Live in the land of thought, yet untouched by thought. This is called putting conceptualization to rest, not being a partner to the dusts. This ineffable message of Zen is to be understood on one's own. I have no Zen for you to study, no doctrine for you to discuss. I just want you to tune in on your own. Zen Master Foyan, Instant Zen. Okay, friends, so let's finish with a sharing of the merit. So how we're going to do this is you can repeat after me. This merit concept is basically we get juiced up when we gather together like this. All kinds of nice people, practitioners, meditators. We listen to, very deep teachings, very profound, kind of ultimate teachings. And we do meditate. This is a meditative space. So when we practice like that for about an hour, good deeds lead to good effects, right? When you do something like this, you tend to feel good after. And we call that merit in Buddhism. So we'll finish by dedicating that merit to all beings rather than just keeping like that. Maybe we got some insight or we have a new understanding or we got some confidence about something, whatever. We don't keep that for ourselves. We just offer that for all beings, and we do that together. And then at the very end, we'll say sadhu 3 times. And sadhu is kind of, if we're offering out all those merits, we might as well give ourselves a pat on the back. So sadhu means kind of like well done, and may it be, traditional Buddhist word. Okay, so everyone, you can unmute your microphones and repeat after me as we share the merits. Okay, let's try. May all the merits that we have done till now be dedicated and shared out
dedicated
toward all sentient beings.
toward all sentient beings.
May all sentient beings
May all sentient beings
rejoice and share in our merits.
rejoice and share in our merits.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Thank you, friends, for all being here, and see you again soon, okay? Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bhante.
Thank you.